What is up, you guys? It has been a crazy ride with this show, but all good things have to come to an end, at least for, a season, so let's jump right into it. This is Castle Rock Recap. So, I'm about a week and a half behind in this, and there actually is a reason. For one thing, I hate having stories end, and this being an anthology series, it is pretty much guaranteed that this is going to be at least the soft ending to the Henry Deaver kid storyline. Although I'm not convinced that that is going to be the case after watching this episode. It's going to be difficult. And on top of that, this episode was, well, it was a mindfuck, to put it in blunt terms, because in a couple of ways it almost seemed to strip away the last episode and kind of make it pointless from a certain perspective. So I decided to wait a little while, and I rewatched it a few times, and then I rewatched the entire series just to get a little bit more context. And after that, I went on YouTube and wanted to see what other people had to say about it, because quite frankly, I don't want to say the same thing that other people are saying, because they've said that already. And here on my show, I liked to kind of pride ourselves in dealing much more with the speculation. What do we think is going to be coming further on down the line? What do we think this means? What do we think that means? And I've seen a lot of people try to explain beat by beat what happened in the episode, and I've seen a couple people kind of fall down on one side. The side being, you know what? Let's take a look at the trailer for this last episode. Let's jump right into the show proper.
People say it wasn't me. It was this place.
Warden Lacey, Zaleski, Juniper Hill, Allen. There is something wrong with that kid.
As long as I'm here, people will die. I can't stop it.
Who are you?
Henry! Mom!
Do you hear it now?
Same as you.
Okay, so that's what happened to us. Here's the thing, most people have seemed to fall down on one side with this episode, and that is that episode 9 really doesn't even matter. That episode 9 was almost like a red herring, because we've had red herrings throughout the entirety of this series. And a lot of people think that the kid, because of this scene right here, is indeed an evil entity. Or I've even seen one person say that maybe it was just a reflection of his own soul, showing that although he is physically ageless in this time period, his soul is growing old and withering and dying, and he's becoming an angry, decrepit old man. And, I guess from a certain perspective, I can see some credibility to that theory. So I've decided that I'm going to take a completely different avenue in speculation on this path. Now, once again, I'm going to say this now. This is not necessarily the truth of what is going on here. This show is a mystery wrapped in an enigma and left for us to figure it out. And after rewatching this show, I've realized that there's a lot of metaphor and a lot of symbolism in this show that is geared directly toward us as the audience. For instance, this. At the beginning of the show, we see that Henry Deaver is down in Texas delivering this very, very powerful, very moving presentation to the jury. The jury's faces are obscured. This is something that I've seen a couple people talking about online, and I wanted to take it a step further. I believe that, metaphorically speaking, he's talking to us as the argument, and this entire show has ended up being almost like a mock court case. This show has literally set up a prosecution against the kid acting in his own defense, and to a lesser degree, having assisted co-counsel from Molly. And we are the jury. Is the kid evil? Is he at fault? Does he deserve to be locked away and possibly even killed? Or is he innocent? Does he deserve our help? Has he been wrongly imprisoned for all these years, more than 2 decades, and deserves help in getting home? And then there's also that gray area. Could there be both? Here's what I think. This is only my speculation. I think that episode 9 was the truth. I do think that Henry Deaver from that universe, aka the kid, I do think that that was his true story. Just like I think that Henry Deaver from our timeline, adopted Henry Deaver, if you will, I think that that actually did happen to him. I think that everything that we've seen up to this point was accurate. However, nature abhors a paradox. One theory that I did have is that the existence of one of these two people in the other timeline, in the other reality, or rather, is causing this schisma, is causing these horrible events to occur, is causing this nastiness, all of the evil, all of the malice, the murders, the Cujos of it all. You know, it being Castle Rock, in fact. That's what I think one possibility is. I think that these are what's happening. And I think that the prolonged existence of being in an alternate reality changes, warps, distorts, and perverts the transient, the outsider. I think that when Henry Deaver saw the kid and he changed into that demonic looking form, or that ancient old man looking form, I think that that really was still him, but a skewed, almost malevolent version of him. I think that our reality is corrupting him body and soul, and he is becoming an outside force. He's becoming something much more eldritch. He's becoming something perhaps akin to Pennywise, or, you know, some of the other evil entities that we've seen in other Stephen King's work. I think that potentially his mere existence in this universe, being an affront to nature, being a paradox, and nature abhorring this paradox, is warping him and changing him into something less than human. And that's what I think that might have been. Or another possibility is when he was sucked through unwillingly and unwittingly into our reality, something came with him. Maybe this was a story of more than just the kid. Maybe this story is more than the sum of its parts. And maybe he brought something over with him. Or something from the Blind Eternities when they cross together. I'm sorry, I'm using a Magic the Gathering term, but I can't think of what else to call it. You know, the Thinny, if you will, using a Stephen King term instead. Maybe something latched itself onto him when he was making that jump in between. But I don't know. That is one of the most frustrating, yet one of the most powerful parts of this series. It's the reason that I love shows like Twin Peaks, for example, is it gives you clues and then it gives you room for speculation. Twin Peaks: The Return has been off the air for over a year now. And I still don't know how to take it. I really don't. So I still have fun rewatching that and speculating about it, and Castle Rock is no exception. And we know that it's going to be picked up for season 2, and I have a feeling that we're going to see echoes of what happened in this season go on in subsequent seasons. I do realize it's supposed to be an anthology story with all new characters, each and every season, but with a mystery box like this, and as big as this show has gotten, I think it would be foolish of all of us to think that we won't revisit some of these themes, threads, or maybe overarching stories. But let's talk about the after credits sequence for a second. Jackie Torrance, axe-wielding Jackie, is on her way to Colorado to go, as she said, back to where it all began. So maybe we're having the intro to what season 2 is going to give us. Maybe it's going to be a couple of different plots that are going to converge. We've already seen some shadows and maybe some rumblings of Jerusalem's Lot playing a factor in Castle Rock season 2. And yes, I realize it's called Castle Rock. So yes, the town of Castle Rock is going to play a factor, but here's the thing. Season 1 did such a beautiful job at setting up Castle Rock as not just a setting, but as a character in and of itself. This town has become a living, breathing entity in and of itself. So I don't think that we're going to necessarily have to be confined to the town limits of Castle Rock, because Castle Rock is within these characters. It's in Jackie. It stretches to Jerusalem's Lot. So I think that we're going to have the ability, and of course we're going to see the town. I'm not saying that we're not, but I'm saying that this season has opened up the doors and possibilities to travel outside of this one town and go into multiple places and visit other Stephen King intellectual properties and still have the echoes of what has happened, or maybe what manifests and began in this town, and seeing it spread like some sort of sickness or disease. So, my final thoughts on this series: it was brilliant. It was incredible. I've enjoyed immensely discussing my theories, my opinions, my pontifications with you guys, and I really hope that you've enjoyed listening to them as well. This series is not completely done for me, because I have met a whole bunch of people, even just down in the comments below, and I am going to be contacting a few of you to kind of continue on with this, talk about some of the real life locations of the town that Castle Rock was filmed in. And I think that it's going to be an absolutely awesome way to keep this going and keep the fire burning and the speculation alive for season 2, because what's actually going to happen, your guess is as good as mine. I really think that we're going to be seeing more of axe-wielding Jackie. I think we're going to see her descent into madness. It is going to involve the Overlook in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if that's going to be the main storyline or not, but if that is not the case, then why the hell did we have that after credits season? I mean, was that just for fan service? Was that just for us to lick our chops? Was it just, for giddy squeals of delight for all of us Stephen King fans being like, oh my god, yes? Maybe, but I don't think so. I really don't. When you've got such rich material and, hell, echoes of a Stanley Kubrick film that you could bring into a Hulu original series, you jump on that. You seize it. And with Jane Levy in the cast, they would be crazy not to utilize her. And she's been tearing it up as Jackie Torrance. So I fall in the camp that we're at least going to see the Overlook, and we're going to continue on with Jackie in season 2. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Have you been enjoying this season? What do you think of my theories as to what this ending truly meant? Throughout the entirety of this YouTube series, I've tried to highlight a couple of important scenes in each episode and talk about, but I think the most important things to talk about in this one were the last 10 minutes. It was, what is the nature of the kid now that Henry has him locked back up? What do we think the after credit sequence actually means? So let me know in the comments down below what you think, and it'll be a few weeks probably, but I'll be back with you guys for 1, maybe 2 more episodes of Castle Rock Recap, where we're going to be talking with some people, like I said, and I can't wait to see you guys next week. There's a whole bunch of other shows on this channel as well that I hope you guys stick around to enjoy as well. Sinful Analysis, where it's a little bit of a comedic dive into movies that I love and or think are significant in some way. I have a lot of fun producing those shows, and they're some of my favorite movies of all time. And even if I don't love them, they're movies that I think are extremely significant. Although the first 20 movies that I have on my list, I'm obsessed with all of them. And also, yeah, there's going to be another video out in a couple of days explaining what's happening in October. So I kind of hope you guys stick around for that, because if you're down with Castle Rock, I think you're going to be down with what I'm doing next month. So until then, please consider hitting that like button. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Why are you sitting here? Why are you listening to me talk for all this time? Hit that subscribe button, man, and leave me a comment down below. What are your theories and thoughts about this final episode, and what do you think is going to happen in season 2? I cannot wait to read them, and I will be seeing you guys on the next video. Take care.